I'm just a poor, wayfaring stranger.
Howdy, y'all. Oh, man, what a week, what a week, what a week. I have a lot that I want to discuss with y'all about the way the weeks went and everything. You know, I went back and forth to Atlanta twice. You know, I made about $4,400 gross. Because it didn't start till like Wednesday. They're calling me this morning wanting me to run back over there for $900, and I'm just not going over for less than $1,100. So me and the brokers might have a little issue there today and the next day. They trying to still keep them rates low, but you know, I'll find something. I mean, I found one going over for $1,300 the other day, so that works. But I've been using the Coyote app because I seem to get a better rate off the Coyote app than I do talking to their brokers sometimes. It's a lot quicker and a lot smoother transition. You know, even with the C.H. Robinson app, you still have to call in. Well, you don't guess you have to. You can email the prices back and forth, but it just works better if you call and contact them in person. The Uber app, there's just not a whole lot in my area right now. Hopefully, you know, I talked to them last week, and hopefully they'll get a little bit more in our area, and I can be able to run a little bit more Uber stuff, because, you know what, their rates are usually fairly good, and I don't have to deal with these cheap brokers, you know. But what we're going to talk about today is in the Bible, okay? In Proverbs 22, verse 7, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Alright, it's a short little verse, but there's so much meaning in that one little verse. And you know, this week, and the few weeks previous, and the few weeks to come, I'm feeling the meaning of it more than I ever have in my entire life. Because it seems like every time you decide that you're going to try to work to get out of debt, something happens and it drags you further down into debt. And I don't normally talk about my home expenses and my business expenses, but today we're going to change that up a little bit. We're going to talk about both of them. We're going to be all inclusive, because it has to do with your level of freedom, your level of happiness. I've always been of the school of thought that I want to be debt-free. I thrive to be debt-free. You know, I prescribe to that philosophy of not borrowing money. But sometimes your philosophies are not practical at the moment. They are what you set your goals on for further down the road. My goal has always been to have my own property, to have my home and all paid for, be ready for retirement, because you all hear the horror stories of people when they retire. They can't afford their medicine, they can't afford their rent, they're constantly back and forth in the hospital, but then they don't have the money to pay for their bills. And then you go to Walmart and other places like that, and you see 70 and 80-year-old people still working for a little check. And that's not where I intend to be in my future. And I think we all should be looking towards that. And I don't want to be in a position where I'm dependent on the government for a check, because a few years ago I was dependent on the government for my tax check to help me catch up on my house bills. Well, guess what? They held it for a few months, and that almost lost my house. That's right. They almost had to come get my house. And that was one of the things that drove me into being an owner-operator. It's all interesting the way it happened, but I know God had a hand in it. You know, it's human nature to quit when things get tough. I've known a lot of people in my life, some of them that meant the world to me, that would quit at the first sign of things getting bad. And it's not bad right now really on the market. I just want to make more money. The other day I had a comment come in and they were talking about I'm fearful and afraid and stuff. What I meant was I want to make more money. I'm afraid that we're not going to be able to make as much money for longer than what we had thought. Not that I'm afraid that I'm going to go out of business, not at least not because of rates. The only thing that really can drive me out of business if I have any more major repairs on the truck and I'm down for any amount of time, that's what could drive me out of business. But as far as the rates, my cost per mile is pretty cheap. Well, it was until I had some repairs. Okay. Now, we all lose a little bit of freedom at the shippers and at the receivers because some of them take ridiculously long to unload and reload. So we lose that. We expect that, you know. But sometimes after weeks of running, you want to be in a position where you can take a little time off. But when you are in debt and when you have those expenses that come up, you're not in the position to take time off. If you wanted to take a week off, you're not able to. Unless things have been going really well and you got a bunch of money saved up, because those expenses are holding you captive. You are enslaved to the expenses that you have acquired. Now see, I'm just like most people. I have a house note, car note, some credit cards, insurances for the house and the cars, all on my personal side. And those come due every month. A lot of them around the first of the month. Then on the business side, we have the truck, the trailer, the insurances, and now I have the repair bills. And that all comes out weekly. So you have your monthly bills and you have your weekly bills, and they're all going to hold you accountable to go to work every day. You may not get your weekends off. You may only get a 34 off, and there's no guarantee where that 34 is going to be. It may be in Atlanta, it may be in California. But you have to keep rolling and scheduling yourself tight to keep that money injection coming into your business, into your home, so that your bills are covered all the way around. So the moral of the story is, I am a slave to my debtors, to my creditors. I'm a slave to the point where I can't take off time when you want to take off time. And when you come into this business, and when you make any bill for your personal or for your business, you need to be aware that it's going to take a little bit of your freedom to pay that bill. Now, this is not a permanent situation. I'm not going to be doing this till I'm 60. Now, the plan is get the truck paid off. Alright? And hopefully, prayerfully, the Lord will allow my truck to keep running for many, many more miles. So without any major mishaps or breakdowns, I believe that I will be totally debt-free December 2019. The truck should be paid off in end of May 2019. So like I said, I can, if I am very disciplined and I save up my money, I can pay off my house, which is a house trailer. I only owe probably $15 on it. And then we can pay off the car, which is a little bit more expensive. My car note's actually more than my house note, but we needed a very dependable ride because we had a vehicle we were upside down on. It's a long story how we got in that vehicle. And it started giving us a lot of trouble. So we had to go and trade it in. And like so many other Americans, we got shafted. And we were upside down on that vehicle, which put us a little upside down on this vehicle. But this one has 3 years of warranty, has great fuel mileage, it's 4-door, it can carry us wherever we want to go. So I'm happy with our purchase. It's just that one note is $620 a month. Alright. So when you couple your house expenses with your business expenses, it comes up to a certain amount. But over time, you can drag them down. Like, my plans are to pay off the truck, get a trailer and pay it off. Probably a used trailer, because a lot of people that I haul for don't require a brand new trailer. Alright, and then once those are paid off, it'll come really quickly to pay off the house and the car and the credit cards. And when you pay off your house and car, you don't have to have anything but liability on your car. But if you don't have house insurance or full coverage insurance on your car, you take a risk of when you wreck it, you lose it all. Then you're back into a note. So, that's a decision that each person needs to make, whether they're going to pay those insurances or not. Personally, I think it's worth the risk, especially if you're taking that money and you're putting it up over a couple years. It can really add up. Like, my house insurance is $80 a month. So that's going to be what, $96? $960 a year. But, that's really not that much that you can accumulate over a year whenever that insurance can cover all of your assets that's in that house. But the car insurance is kind of expensive. It's more like $170 for 2 vehicles per month. But what I'm trying to tell you is, I think all of us need to be searching for a way to get out of debt. All of us need to be searching for a way to be more free. Because, if I didn't have the truck notes and the cars and the house notes all right now, I would probably go and take me a couple of days off. But as it is, I'm pushing that 34 as thin as I can. I'm trying to go out there and get that next load so I can build up the next week's revenue. Because you really don't start making money until you get past all your expenses, your fuel and your truck notes and stuff. So about $2,000 to $2,500 worth of running. After that is when you start making money. But you still have to take that percentage off, for the company. But you're making money after that point. Once you cover your fuel and everything, that's when you really start seeing the profit and feeling a little bit more comfortable about it. But I've acquired extra repair bills to the tune of around $500 a week. So it's like I'm paying 2 truck notes right now almost. So when those get down, I'll be a little bit better off. I won't be so stressed every week about how much I'm making. But I got in touch with the shipper last week, my direct shipper, and it looks very good. I didn't price myself out of the market. Our only problem is me being here whenever they have the load. And I've been going back and forth to Atlanta. That plan's working also, so I don't think I'm going to be using no dispatching service. But I'm running out of time. God bless. Catch you on the next ride. Later.